Hi everybody, before we get started, I have something to plug that I forgot to plug in the fullness of the episode, so I'm going to do it up top now. The latest episode of our music interview series, Music Now, is out now. This is going really quite badly. I'm going to carry on. I've got the whole gang with me and they're all watching me. Basically, other podcast, we've interviewed Tommy Parman and Andrew Vasilik about, among other things, their new score for The Phantom of the Opera, the Lon Chaney 1925 one, via the DCA and their Done Dead thing. So it's on tour across Scotland just now. But you can listen to that pod. I'll put it in the notes of this episode. God, this intro's been a bit of a mess, hasn't it, Annie?
That's fine.
I'm hearing it's fine. Right, anyway, on with the show. See you in a bit. Hello, and welcome back to the Cineskinny. It's the film podcast from the Skinny magazine. I tell you what, it's all changed around here. It's the regular team. It's the four of us. It's me, Annie.
Hello.
Jamie.
Hello.
And Ellie.
Hello.
But we are in a new gaff. We have got a new office, courtesy of Outer Spaces, so thank you to them. I would say, Annie, it is well furnished, but also under-furnished.
It doesn't have walls, our recording studio.
No, we're currently in what we're kind of like recording triangle.
Yeah.
At the
of
back.
a sofa.
Yeah, 2 sofas and a table at the back end of an extremely long room with lots of holes in the walls.
Yeah, I don't think we can really convey how big this place is and how few of us there are. It's truly crazy.
We are just all kind of like clustered together in a little like commune in the middle of this cavern.
Yeah.
I mean, what I will say is the ambient echo when you laughed there does convey the size of the room quite nicely.
Great.
So there we go. But it does mean that we are recording at one end of the room while our colleagues work at the other. So
Yeah, look at them being industrious.
They're having a great time. We're having a great time. So that explains the audio. So that's that sorted. Everyone's here. Anna's back from London.
I am.
You're going to tell us about that in a bit, I presume.
Yeah, because that's all I've been watching.
Excellent.
So.
And then we also have a couple of films to review, as we do. We've got The Mastermind, the new Kelly Reichardt, and Guillermo del Toro's take on Frankenstein, which I believe is about a fella who makes another fella into a fella.
He actually makes a lot of fellas into a fella.
Well, don't spoil it, Jim.
Fella.
We're going to get to this fella and his fellas in a bit, all right? And then we're also going to talk about heist movies, because The Mastermind is a heist movie.
Yeah.
That's the level of planning that goes into these things. But yeah, we've explained any potential echoes and weird background noise you might be able to hear. Mm-hmm. We've outlined basically what's going to happen for the rest of the show. So let's talk about things we've been watching recently. Annie, do you want to go first, seeing as you're back from that London?
Yes, from
where
that
I believe
London.
they have everything nowadays.
They really, truly
They've
do.
got Gale's Bakery.
Yeah.
They've got Piccadilly Circus.
They really did.
They've got,
yeah.
what else do they have in London, Jamie?
The Eye. The London Eye.
The Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, you really said that like it was. An
The
evil
thing is,
character.
if there was like an Eye of Sauron in the UK, it would definitely be sponsored by like Emirates Airlines.
Yeah, 100%. It was the most time I've spent in central London in a really long time. And I think I finally understand when people are like, I hate London. Because if that's what they experience of London, it sucks. It was so bleak being there like constantly for almost 2 weeks. And then you step outside of central London, you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest city in the world. So I really would recommend that people stop going to central London. But I was in central London because I was watching a lot of films.
Before you talk about the thing that you were there to talk about, can you quickly define for all of us who haven't lived in London where you class central London as being?
So I was like in Soho. So really between Piccadilly Circus and Leicester Square. Like right
Soho's
in
actually
the middle.
nice part of central London.
Do you think?
Like,
I think it's so
It's Leicester
bleak.
Square's the horrible part.
Yeah, but they're next to each other.
I know, but then you've got like Chinatown in between, which kind of little buffer zone.
Oh,
And then-
but even that I found
so you've
really
got the
overwhelming.
gays, the Chinese, and then the tourists. It's like,
I think the problem is that Soho is no longer the gays. I think I would like it a lot more if it was.
okay.
It was just a bit like, do you know what I mean? It was actually so many people standing outside at about 5 p.m. having come from the office, like at the pub.
Oh.
Which is just like good for them. But do you know what I mean? It's just a very like a work culture-y kind of place, and then tourist culture kind of place. Like you don't really feel like anyone lives there, obviously, because they don't. But I just found it very like, you know, you walk past 5 M&M shops on your way to anything.
They now have a Greg's on Leicester Square, which I was amazed by.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's across from the M&M shop.
I take it all back.
Jamie was also in London.
I was
We'll be
also in
offering on a rebuttal shortly.
When were you in London?
I was there on a flying visit Thursday and Friday.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
What were you doing
And I had
there?
a Greg's. And it was great.
Were you at the film festival?
I was there for like a day. I did-
Why did you not tell me?
All right.
That's so crazy.
It wasn't a secret. It was just like, I didn't want to bother you.
That's bananas. Okay, well, what were you?
Oh, it was great. I stayed in a pod. I
He stayed in a
I was
pod.
stood
He
up
should-
by Lynn Ramsey.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
all
a
right.
shame.
I'll blank out the name of the director who stood up Jamie to preserve
It's
his
fine.
future. Okay, fine, fair enough.
She did stand me up.
Lynne.
So wait, you came down to London to interview Lynn Ramsey,
Yeah.
and then she didn't turn up.
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh no.
that's crazy.
Yeah, Scottish on Scottish violence.
I know. Come on, I thought Glasgow.
You came all the way down to London.
Well, I went-
expressly.
No, I was doing other interviews. And
Oh, okay.
I just-
And he wanted to go to the Greg's. He had a pod. He had a pod booked. He needed to use that.
Wow, this is really shaking me. I can't believe you were there. That's really crazy.
But
Anyway.
I'm saying that because I enjoy going to the Soho because it's a little break from Leicester Square. You know, I feel like you get some nice food there. You can go through Chinatown.
Okay.
It feels fun. No?
Would you want to be there for 2 weeks?
Oh no.
Well then, okay. Well then, stop arguing with me. Anyway,
You know,
I was in London.
sometimes I have these ideas and I think like, oh, we'll just derail the regular running of the podcast. Have a little chat about something that's happened in someone's lives, and then next, they always end with a slightly acrimonious, like one of us being like, you know what, fine, it's fine. It's fine.
Just move on.
Anyway, I went to London. I saw 25 films, which is arguably too many films, I will say. But they were really good. There was a lot of really, really good stuff, which I think we will probably talk about in the course of the next few months. So I don't want to like spoil it too much. But I saw the new Knives Out, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was a romp. I saw the new Joachim Trier, which was incredible. I think better than Worst Person in the World, and I loved Worst Person in the World. So the new Jafar Panahi, that was great. One Icon, The Testament of Anne Lee, Pillion, the new Laura Poitras, that was really, really good. And it made me want to, I have an idea now where I'm like, should I just start buying a newspaper? Like once a week, because it was about like an investigative journalist, like a famous one from like
It's the Cy Harsh one, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah. It's called Cover Up, and it's a lot about like him doing a journalism. And I was like, wow, should I just like once a week buy a newspaper and like read the news and then throw it away?
I do like reading newspaper because I feel like you come across stories you would not look at.
Yeah, and it's
Otherwise.
contained. Like you're not
Yeah.
just like scrolling on your phone through like endless misery. Do
Yeah,
you know
and
what
it's
I
like-
mean?
So would you get a newspaper and then also like delete your social medias?
Well, I don't really get news on my social media anymore because I only really use Instagram. And I think people have stopped putting news on Instagram because everyone's too depressed.
Yeah.
I think Twitter was like quite a bad place for news, but then I'm not on Twitter anymore. But I just wouldn't read like the online news. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, it made me
I do like the way that Anahit has, from first principles, discovered the concept of the magazine we all work in. Like, but what if there was a way that you could get a selection, not all stuff you definitely want, but like a selection of different ideas.
This is what I'm saying.
But then it was all together in one kind of. It was like you took a tree
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you just
yeah,
like made it really, really thin. Like then, if you've ever been to a deli where they have that ham slicer, just like.
Yeah, and maybe like a crossword and like a Garfield cartoon.
Yeah,
and
imagine.
some
Yeah,
sport
but
at the
that,
back.
and then the thing is, right, they do one, and you think, oh, that's cool, that's nice, and then they do another one. And sometimes they're
yeah.
connected together, sometimes they're not. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
good.
There's people working there,
Yeah.
putting their thoughts and feelings into that magazine. I don't
It's
know.
called The Newspaper. And here's what it means for your weekend.
The one issue is most newspapers in this country are garbage, so
Yeah.
you'd have to choose quite
This
wisely.
is also the issue because I was like, which newspaper would I pick? Because they all suck. But I was like, maybe it is just like psychologically a good thing to. Anyway, so those were my thoughts and feelings on the films and also the news.
Anahit saw 25 films, doesn't like Central London, and believes that newspapers are bad. Jamie, any advance on that? Do you want to tell us more about this pod, or do you want to just move on with the
this pod.
the pod?
pod you stayed in.
The pod you stayed
Oh,
in.
the pod. Yeah, it was like
Not this that's currently happening. Believe me, it's self-evident what's happening here. This capsule.
Well, my first interview was quite early on Friday morning, so I didn't want to go to my auntie's who stays out in Richmond, and it would have been a bit of a trek. So I discovered you can get a £30 pod in Piccadilly Circus, which is like a Japanese-style pod. It's literally like a coffin that you sleep in.
I have seen photos. The thing is, it's wood panelled inside as well, so it is like a coffin.
Where's the bathroom?
It's a shared bathroom, so you go. It's a bit like a hostel, but like if your bed in the hostel is like a little enclosed capsule that you can lock up and traps you.
I mean, fair play to Jamie. He did actually manage to take a photo of his outfit before he went out from within the walls of the pod.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I would recommend it. I thought it was kind of cozy.
Do you say it was 30 quid?
30 quid.
You know what? That is pretty good.
And
you can't get anything for 30 quid.
I was
these
right.
days.
It was. I can see Piccadilly, the kind of the Coca-Cola thing.
I can see Piccadilly Circus through the tiny gap in the wall.
Yeah,
of
there
my
are no
pod.
windows. That's the one thing. So I actually can't see it. I can see it from the door.
I can see Piccadilly Circus at my window, figuratively speaking.
Worth every pound.
Yeah, it was very strange, but kind of nice.
Nice. And did you see any films while you were in London, or any other time that you want to talk about?
I saw no films while I was in London, unfortunately. But I did see actually a lot of London Film Festival films at Glasgow Film Theatre, because they were doing the tour.
Mm-hmm.
So I did see some of those films you mentioned. But the film I wanted to talk about, which I watched at the weekend, was Memories. I don't know if you've ever seen this film. It's a Japanese animation from 1995. It's actually 3 films. It's like a triptych. The first one's called Magnetic Rose. It's about a kind of deep salvaging team that come across a kind of beacon, and they go investigate, and they get trapped in this kind of like ship of illusions. It's really cool. It's written by Satoshi Kon, who Ellen and I were discussing last week, who went on to make Perfect Blue. Really amazing. It's probably the best of the 3. The other 2 are pretty good as well. The middle one's called Stink Bomb, which is like about a scientist who ingests some experimental pill that makes him a kind of biological weapon, and it's very kind of funny and tragic. And the third one's called Cannon Fodder, which is kind of Orwellian satire about a world where everybody's job is around firing a cannon at an unknown enemy. So like the kids go to school and learn about trigonometry so they can learn the perfect angle to fire the cannon, and the dad goes off and loads the cannon, and there's like, this is like a real kind of hierarchy of shooting cannons essentially. And that's really fun. So I'd recommend that film, but especially Magnetic Rose, which was fantastic.
Wonderful. That does sound good. And so I got really distracted when you said Cannon Fodder, because I just started thinking of the Sega Mega Drive video game Cannon Fodder, which is basically just like Worms, but they take away all the subtext. So like
All of the deep subtext.
all the deep subtext of the Worms universe is just replaced. It's like, instead of it being worms who are kind of launching things at each other, and it's like a kind of satire take on kind of like trench warfare type stuff, they just replace all the worms with actual little army men.
Oh.
So then you're just like, oh yeah, cool, now this is just, good job, lads. Good job, computer games. That's why you'll never beat films.
There was like this computer game we used to play when we were a kid, but I'm trying to remember what it was. It was like so deeply pixelated, like from the 80s or something. And there would be like different tanks, and then they would try and nuke each other. And I just remember like the little thing would like go in an arc, and you had to like get the angle right. And me and my brother, who were not really allowed computer games, would play these like really shitty ones that like our parents wouldn't find out about. I'm going to see if I can find out what that was
That
called.
does sound
Get a
like
message from
very
my brother.
similar to what... Right, okay.
What was yours called? Cannon Fodder?
Yeah, and that was on the Mega Drive, I think.
Okay, all right.
Anyway,
Someone else talk
while
while I
you're
figure this out.
messaging your brother to unlock childhood memories, Ellie, what have you been watching?
Nothing. Nothing particularly interesting. I rewatched all of Haunting of Hill House, like the Mike Flanagan series, and then that sent me on like a kind of like haunted house vibe, where I checked out The Haunting, which is like the 1960s adaptation of the same Shirley Jackson story, and I watched The Others, which is like the Nicole Kidman haunted house film from like 2001 or something like that. And I got to admit, like, I don't know, all very interesting, but like nothing's really scaring me. I'm in the mood for something like truly scary this October. And I don't know if I mentioned, I watched Cars for the first time, the DreamWorks animated film. And that's by far the most unsettling thing that I've seen in years, actually. I always found it really, really weird and kind of leering compared to all the other, like, quite warm, heartfelt Pixar films. No, not, did I say DreamWorks? Pixar.
Yeah,
Pixar. Because, like, the thing about Pixar films is they've always got this, like, real human approach to them. So, like, WALL-E is about robots, but it's actually about the humans that he's protecting. And Toy Story is about toys, but it's actually about the human they're protecting. There's no humans in Cars. It's just like some guy being like, what if there were just loads of people, but they were cars instead? And what if there was the Queen, but she was a Queen car? And what if there was a Pope, but he was a Pope car? And it's like, there's no real like reason for any of this. It just seems to be fulfilling the whims of one particular character designer at Pixar. There's just something weird about it. There's just something really off about it.
Also, the Pope already has a Pope car. It's called the Pope Mobile. So does that mean that the Pope, this is a terrible piece of audio to do with no pop shield on your microphone, but does that mean that the Pope car, the Pope, does that mean that, does that mean that, wait, I can do it. I've got a formulation of it that hardly has any P's in it. Does that mean that there's a second car for His Holiness?
I think that His Holiness is his own Pope mobile.
Okay.
Aww.
Yeah,
That's nice.
But at the same time,
Pope
remembering it now, like, no, cars do drive around
Self-sufficiency.
in other cars, which is even
What?
weirder. Right, you're seeing what I mean about this being, like, possibly some weird fetish of this one particular designer.
That's
because why do
really
the cars
weird.
drive around in each other? And also the fact that it's like, if the bonnet of the car is their face, they always, like, grab each other by their, like, I don't know what you call it, suspension between their back two tires. So it's like the physicality raises so many strange questions, and it's just kind of a fever dream.
And
So if you're
now-
looking for something truly terrifying, watch Cars for the first time this Halloween.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I have just Googled cars in Cars, but it's not bringing anything
There's
up.
like he goes around in a like pickup truck that like drives him around.
Wow.
Because he's like a celebrity car or whatever.
It's like if we were like riding around in something made of like flesh and bone.
Yeah.
It's a hideous
If
thought.
we were just in like the sort of mammalian pouch of some giant human kangaroo.
If that's not a good lead into talking about Frankenstein, I don't know what is. Right, should we do it? Let's talk about Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. So, as discussed, a scientist makes a man out of bits of other men, and trouble, naturally, ensues. So, this is Guillermo del Toro's long-awaited film version of everyone's favourite 19th century story about the perils of reanimating a corpse. Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, and various other people. It was partly shot in Edinburgh, which surely has to count for something on this podcast, but we're about to find out that maybe not. Anahi, I know, has strong feelings about this, so we'll come to her second.
Mm-hmm. I think that's for the best.
Jamie, what's the deal with this Frankenstein fella? Also, what sets this apart from other versions of the story? What does Guillermo del Toro do differently, etc., etc.? Well, what's this guy's problem? You know, can't he just leave well enough alone?
Well,
I'm not asking you to
No.
justify the moral actions of Frankenstein. I'm just trying to set you up to just have a bit of fun with it. So, as you were.
well, I came on this actually not loving the film, but I feel like I might have to defend it since I know Annie is going to eviscerate it. You know,
I've got a question for you.
Why? Why do you have to do that?
because I feel like you know doing our boy Del Toro disservice. You know, like because like I think
You should make a better film.
No, like I think there is good stuff in it. I think it's like I think it's the example of like when somebody really wants to make a thing and has wanted to make it for a long time and they maybe overthought it, but undercooked it. If that makes sense.
Not to interrupt you because I do want you to get some flow, but like I did find a quote on Wikipedia from Del Toro from 2012. We're talking about Frankenstein. He said, "It's the most important book of my life. So you know, if I get to it, whenever I get to it, it will be the right way." Continue.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the problem with the film is like he wants to have his cake and eat it. You know, so he wants to make this kind of cheesy, bombastic horror film in the style of the old Universal films. You know, which he clearly loves, and he does. I think he does that. It is like a very kind of cheesy, crazy fairy tale, but he also wants to kind of. He's reaching for this kind of grand kind of pathos and emotion that just wasn't there for me. So yeah, I did get swept up in the lavish sets. The filmmaking is amazing. The costumes, you know, like all that kind of stuff works, but there's just something about, even though it's a really long film, it feels like there's not enough character development. So like, I wouldn't really blame the actors. I think actually Jacob Elordi is kind of great. Like he's this kind of lanky, sexy, soulful creature, you know, like, and the makeup is so good. His torso is like all stitched together. He looks like an anatomy drawing. He looks a bit like actually a lot of Del Toro's creatures. Like he's clearly into this kind of weird elongated monster that turns up a lot of his films. So you think of like the Niles Crane. What's his name? Who plays Niles Crane? Anyway, he plays the Fishman in Hellboy. He looks a bit like that, or like just the kind of what else? Like the pale man in Pan's Labyrinth looks as like a big tall kind of skinny thing.
Both of these are played by Doug Jones, by
Jones.
the way, who didn't play Niles Crane.
Is it not his voice then?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Is
But
it- I thought-
Imagine if Doug Jones played Niles Crane.
I thought who does Niles Crane play?
Let's consider that for a
Ignore me, I
bit.
should have researched that better. But anyway, well, Doug Jones's character in those films, and then in the Shape of Water is it also
it's
Doug
also
Jones.
if it's a tall, lanky alien man, it's Doug Jones.
Hold on, did Jacob already steal this role from Doug Jones?
Probably.
I think so. I think he was like dropped in at the last minute.
Ah,
Because he's got the star power that Doug Jones doesn't have.
but he has the very long.
the famously memorable Doug Jones.
Who I confuse with Niles from Frasier. Anyway, but what Jacob does have is he's got a very long torso. So it's perfect casting.
Say what you will about Jacob Elordi. I know you weren't going to, but say what you will. He's got very long torso.
Yeah, so like I think he's really good. He's like the way he moves and stuff. He's not the kind of lumbering Boris Karloff monster. He's like very kind of elegant and like he's really thought about how he moves around the room. You know, like and I think that really like shone through for me. But yeah, like the problem is that the script's just like I think what Del Toro's tried to do is he's tried to like follow Shelley's novel quite closely in terms of the structure of the story. Like he follows it's kind of weird kind of interlocking narratives, but he kind of like forgets all the kind of emotional power of that film of that book. So yeah, it's almost like he's misunderstood the book a bit, even though he loves it so much. I think he's like misunderstood the point of it a little bit. So like I say, a really long film that doesn't really satisfy in terms of all the characters, like and even the changes he makes doesn't quite make sense to me. So like Christoph Waltz plays this kind of arms dealer who has some sort of nefarious reason that he wants him to make this creature, but when you find out what that is, it's just kind of like ends, like it goes nowhere. Like there's a lot of kind of dead ends like that. Like Mia Goth as well plays the Elizabeth character, who in the book is his stepsister and wife. I can't remember. It's like it wasn't.
Girl, what?
Do you know how
It's his,
stepsister
like,
and wife?
It's Victor's like fiance, but I think she's like the father's ward or something
Yeah.
like that, but not like a stepsister.
adopted sister?
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's his fiance,
Yeah.
not his brother's fiance.
But yeah, so he changes it, and I can't work out what the reason for that is. It just
Yeah.
doesn't quite make sense for the story. So yeah, just like some weird tinkering for no reason, but then some slavish following of like some more convoluted parts that didn't need to be done. But it looks great. Like I do think it was like I can't fault the filmmaking personally. I think it was just like fantastic. So
Annie, can you fault the filmmaking?
Yeah, I think it looked shite.
yeah.
Bold.
I thought it looked so ugly. It was like so CGI, and I was really like, this man made Pan's Labyrinth. This man made Pacific Rim. What has
And
happened?
there it is.
I thought it was a lot of practical effects. I thought actually it was quite.
I thought it looked really, really CGI. If it was practical effects, that's really sad because it did not. I will agree with you about the costumes. Great gowns, beautiful gowns, but everything else about it, I thought was like really, ugly and like obvious as well. Like there wasn't any real, like a little like bits of Crimson Peak, but even more so. So I didn't think it looked good. I think that being like it doesn't stick to the book is on the surface a bit of like a boring critique because adaptation is adaptation. However, I think there is something about the ways that this film goes away from the book that shows, like you said, just a complete misunderstanding of what that book does. Mary Shelley wrote that book when she was 18 years old. She invented the genre of science fiction. She also wrote it about having just lost a baby, I think, with Percy Shelley. Like, I think her young baby, like, died. And so she was writing a lot about, like, anxieties of creation and anxieties of like parenthood, and obviously writing within the kind of like scientific context of the time. And it's so complex and rich, that book. And what he has done to it is so fucking shocking that I actually could not believe it. Like the way that he changes the story to this really, really simplistic narrative about a really horrible dad that has this son, and then the son also becomes this kind of horrible dad. Like these really, really reductive forms of like narrative storytelling and of engaging with these themes in like really bizarre and boring ways. I think the thing around like Elizabeth, and that she's now related to, she's like the brother's fiance, whereas I think in the book the brother is still a child, but is now the brother's fiance. I think it's actually part of this, that he is just creating dramatic tension in the most simplistic of ways. Like, oh, he's in love with this woman, but she's engaged to his brother. Like, isn't that a kind of thing that he can be a bit tortured about? Instead of actually getting to grips with like a much knottier form of like how that relationship then plays out. So I thought that was really bad. I thought Oscar Isaac was acting badly. And I don't like to say that about hot men, but he was acting so badly.
You've always been a big supporter of hot men.
I really have.
On this podcast and off.
Yeah, truly.
And now look at the spot you've been put in.
Yeah, look at what they've done to me. I thought he was so bad in it. And I think part of that is like, the character of Victor Frankenstein was written really badly, that he's just like weird and bratty and like cruel for no reason. Like I think the abandoning of the monster is like this very kind of like tortured but also weird thing that happens in the book, where he brings this thing to life and then is frightened of it and runs away. And that's a very different and more psychologically interesting thing than just chaining the monster and beating it up and being a little bitch. Like that is just like such a, I don't know. I thought all of that was really, really awful. I don't understand why everyone's being like, Jacob Elordi was great. He was tall. Like that was really what he brought to the role. And I don't like, I really was like, did we all watch a different film? Cause me and my friends all hated it. And I was like, we were so confused as to why everyone else thought it was really great. I thought it was like really bad. Like really, really bad, really like cartoony. Like there's this bit where like wolves are attacking people, and it was like, does he know what wolves do? Like wolves aren't like human predators. Like what is happening here? It was crazy.
See me, I saw it as like he's literally making a fairy tale. It's like a kid's film.
But it's not a fairy tale. Like make another film then.
But that's what he does. He makes kind of fairy tales about monsters. All his films are like that, you know?
Yeah, but then why are you making Frankenstein? Frankenstein isn't a fairy tale. Frankenstein is a work of like science fiction, of speculative fiction. And I think reducing the thing that makes Frankenstein scary is the reality of it almost. If you just turn it into this weird conceit about a monster, then it is a fairy tale. It's like a folk tale, and then it's not scary. That's like taken away from it. The point is like, what if someone could literally reanimate a corpse? Then what does that happen in like an ethical and like psychological way to like the characters? But then if you just have like I was like, why are the warg riders from Lord of the Rings in this film? Like it was insane. I just thought every part of it was so stupid. I didn't like it.
She's not a fan.
One thing that really annoyed me, talking about like, you know, obviously it's like a great feminist text, this amazing teenage writer. It ends with a quote from Lord Byron.
Yeah, who was
really
a fucking bitch to Mary Shelley the whole time.
Well,
like treated her like shit.
Well, the whole point was like, I don't know if this is like apocryphal, but like the whole reason the book exists is because he dared them all to like write a scary story, and she like. They all come up with crap things, and she came up with this amazing masterpiece.
Yeah.
And like he had to like apologize and say, "My God," you know, like how the start of The Bride of Frankenstein, it has that kind of like hokey bit where it's like Lord Byron says, "How did such a beautiful girl come up with such a terrifying story?" Like that's like I think what happened, and then to end the film with a quote from him is just bizarre.
It's insane. It's almost as bad as I think which is a good film, the 1930s. Frankenstein, like in the kind of like title credits, it's like based on a novel by Mrs. Percy Shelley, and I was like, go fuck yourself. That's insane. Yeah, it just made me so angry. I was shocked. But then Pinocchio was also shit. So maybe he's just...
See, I like Pinocchio.
I've not seen Frankenstein, so I can't comment on it specifically, but I have a framework in my mind of Del Toro's films, which is that they are either, and I have to get this right, they are either good but fun, like I would say Pan's Labyrinth is good but fun, and like Crimson Peaks is like good but fun, or Shape of Water, or fun but bad. Like Pacific Rim, I think is fun but bad.
Oh, I think it's really good.
Or yeah, like Pinocchio or Hellboy or Blade 2. Like you can do things that are fun but also bad, but you can also do things that are good but also fun.
Yeah, okay, I see that.
But
this
it sounds
neither.
Yeah, it sounds like this doesn't really fit that.
No, sadly not. That is though actually a really good demographic.
And I
of his
came up with
films.
it 20 minutes ago, so you know it's a robust theory.
Ellie's thought this one through. Okay, so if that's convinced you either way, Frankenstein is in the cinemas now, and it's on Netflix from the 7th of November. The only thing I have to add is that me and Ellie got into the other day talking about Guillermo del Toro's acting role. He's not actually in it, but his role as a dead man in the Death Stranding video game, where he is, I'm showing the gang an image of computer-generated Guillermo del Toro, where he appears to be wearing a leather shirt and tie.
And he looks so happy.
Yeah.
I feel like all he wants deep down is to be a character in a video game.
This is the man who has upset Anna Heat's a man in kind of horn-rimmed glasses, like say where every item that he's wearing is made of a different kind of leather. Anyway, that's a complete digression that has nothing to do with anything.
Should we do Letterboxd?
Yeah, let's do some scores out of 5. Anna Heat, how many out of 5?
1.5.
1.5. It was a film. It was a film, and it did run to time. Jamie.
It's also so long. It's 2.5 hours long.
No, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a 3. It's like, I had fun with it, and I think if you go into it expecting a kind of throwback to the kind of Universal films, but the problem is it's 2.5 hours long, and those films are like 90 minutes and they're perfect. So yeah, it was just bloated, and yeah.
If you want to see a film with a runtime as long as the torso of one of its characters, Frankenstein's the one for you. Right, next up, a better film. I think we can probably all agree. Kelly Reichardt's latest one, The Mastermind, starring our favourite slightly shambly lad, Josh O'Connor. So in the 1970s, an oafish family man and would-be kind of architect and artist hits upon a brilliant can't-miss plan to make all of his troubles go away. He's going to steal a lot of art from his local gallery, and it's all going to go perfectly to plan. So it's Josh O'Connor, Alana Haim, who we last saw in One Battle After Another, John Magaro, who we last saw in Kelly Reichardt's one of Kelly Reichardt's previous films, First Cow, Bill Camp, Hope Davis, and a bunch of other people. My notes here say Vietnam, jazz, and cinematography. Ellie, do you want to talk about any of those concepts or something else about this film that I think you'll probably agree is good?
It's a good film. I really enjoyed it.
Wonderful.
I guess I'll go off-piste and say that the first act of this film is like where your brain goes when you find out that a bunch of guys just threw a heist at the Louvre. And you're like, wow, that must be so unbelievably clever and intelligent of them and well thought out. And like, you know, you watch it, and, you know, Josh O'Connor's just this like, I don't know, guy in Massachusetts, is it, in 1970, just wandering around this wee museum with his family. But there's this really like cool cinematography, there's this great little jazz score, and it gives this impression that there's like a real sort of inner working to his mind, that he's a really calculating guy, he's casing the joint and his family don't even know. And then, you know, they play really well with that expectation, because when you read more about the Louvre heist that happened earlier this week, you do realize that in fact, like, a bunch of dudes just drove a cherry picker up to a first story balcony and then broke 2 display cases and ran off and got on scooters. And it was just that the security camera happened to be facing the wrong way. And then actually we think that like heists involve this like really sort of larger than life level of intelligence and advanced thought, but really you just have to be like more brazen than anyone would anticipate. And that's sort of the expectation, that's the reality that the film plays with, because like, yeah, it does feel like this sort of perfect jazzy heist film for the first maybe 30 minutes, but then, you know, the heist goes almost quicker than you'd expect it to. I'm not going to give away spoilers, but like there is, I think, that a real meat to this film is this strange kind of crushing reality of the museum heist. They essentially just bum rush the place, you know, and it seems really sloppy, and all that sort of invention that you picked up off of Josh O'Connor is strangely absent. And then he just has to like sit these priceless Arthur Dove paintings in his like living room floor where they're surrounded by kids' toys, and he has to like stash them away, and like getting up and down the ladder with each painting takes like 30 minutes, and it's just like really like agonizingly drawn out and seems really tedious and time consuming because, well, like it's too late, he's locked in and you're just stuck with this guy as he's got to like go through the motions of what he's doing. And it just, you know, does really interesting things with that. And you begin to think maybe he's not quiet because he's sort of disguising some sort of inner working, some sort of deep buried intelligence. Maybe he's just quiet because he doesn't actually know what he's doing. He's just making it up on the spot, or he's just like, you know, he's just faking it until he makes it. And it's just really interesting. Like a couple months ago, we watched Cloud by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and the main character from that reminded me a lot of Josh O'Connor's character here, where he's just a guy who is sort of like devoted his entire life to like ripping people off, to stealing, to like, but at the same time, you kind of zoom out and realize that he's not using his ill-gotten gains for anything that seems remotely fulfilling. He's not actually like enjoying anything about his life. He's actually just quite a robotic guy who seems to just be doing it for the sheer sake of ambition. And as that goes on, there's something really infuriating about his character. Like at one point, someone sort of tries to guess why he stole the paintings he did, and it's like, oh, was it because your college professor had this hanging up on his... And he kind of doesn't respond in any way or the other, but you realize at that point, like, well, that's a very sentimental idea, and he seems like such an unsentimental person. He doesn't really give a shit about his family. He doesn't really give a shit about anyone. And it's this sort of strange, slow burn of a guy who just sort of, I don't know, it is kind of like the 1970s nuclear family patriarch who just doesn't really give that much of a shit about his wife or kids, but feels that he has to take care of them, and just also sort of expects that he'll excel at anything that he sets his mind to, and that anything that he's attempting must go off without a hitch, because why wouldn't it? And then that feeds really interestingly into the kind of like historical setting of the film. Like, you know, there is this big dissonance where there's loads of hippies and protesters and draft dodgers just, you know, cutting around in the background. And every time we open a scene where there's like a TV or a radio playing, you get some like mad old Republican talking about the Vietnam War. So it's like there's a real political dissonance that no one's really prepared to grasp or grapple with in this film. But at the same time, you've got this one character, and his entire like identity is kind of a microcosm of that, right? Where he just, you know, is pushing himself so much to do this sort of ridiculous thing that doesn't actually serve anyone, isn't well thought out at all, and leaves him with the awareness that he's not actually, like, I don't know, properly connected to anything or anyone. And it's just like really satisfying. It's like a really intelligently written and directed film. And I would say that probably the one thing is that, like I say, there's these like long agonizing sequences where, you know, you see how hard it is for him to do the thing that he's doing. You see how manually demanding and quite like mind numbing it is to just do these certain parts of the heist. So I feel like that can be a little bit challenging to watch because it is sort of punishing you for being in there with him. But at the same time, it is ultimately a really satisfying film for how unsatisfied he is as a character. So I really enjoyed it. And Josh O'Connor is great. What is it about this man that is just entertaining to watch him burgle people and steal things? Whether it's in like sunny 60s Italy or Massachusetts during the Vietnam War.
Yeah, there are some Coen Brothers levels of oafishness going on in this one. It's like, I think that's one of the things that really did remind me of those things like Fargo and stuff like that, where it's just like some local man makes bad decision, doubles down ad infinitum. It's good fun. Jamie, what did you think?
Yeah, I can't remember if I've ever talked about a Kelly Reichardt film on the pod, but yeah, I'd say she's probably my favourite American filmmaker right now. Like her films just always are very satisfying and sort of like, she's got this thing where like on paper they seem so simple and like so basic, but then there's something really profound about them. Like they just kind of have this kind of cumulative quality. Just watching people do ordinary things, like she loves to just shoot the stuff that other people would not put in their film. Like no other filmmaker would put like a 10-minute sequence with somebody trying to hide 4 paintings in a pig loft. I don't know, what was it, like a
barn?
A barn, yes. What's the word?
life.
I'm a country
babe.
boy. Yeah, like,
so I think of it, Jamie, as like a pod hotel, but it's for pigs.
Exactly. That's where the pig pods live. Anyways, so but she shows you like you have 10 minutes like grappling like up and down these stairs with this beautiful little case he's built. Then he's going to put it with some pigs. Anyway, I think Josh O'Connor's perfect in this because he's just so likable, and the film gives you it just pulls the rug from under you because you think, oh, this is like a little Robin Hood figure. Why is he doing this? He must have a good reason because he's so nice and he wears nice jumpers and he's got nice kids and he's got a nice family. But then you realise this guy is completely soulless. Like he doesn't care about anything in his life. He's just a privileged guy who's bored. And is like a loser essentially. Like when there's early scenes with him when his dad's berating him, like saying, "Oh, you're not made anything in your life," and you think, "Oh, that dad's a bit of a dick," but the dad's probably got a point. He hasn't, and we watch him just kind of like essentially wreak havoc on everyone. He like wreaks havoc on his family. Then he tries to wreak havoc on his friends by like trying to like when he's on the run, he goes to them and they have nothing to do with him. Like I love those scenes. Like Gabby Hoffman, who's one of his old college friends, who like essentially does not want him in the house, and like, yeah, and then as I
she
said,
doesn't want him in the house, to be clear, because he is at this point actively on the run for the heist that he did that has been in all of the newspapers. And and Gabby Hoffman, so John Magaro is Gabby Hoffman's partner, and he's kind of like, man, that's really funny, that's really cool. And she's like, nah, it's not really though, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, she's like the voice of reason in the whole film, like saying, yeah, he's an arse, get out. So yeah, like, just a really, really fun film. And I love, like I love how, like, at the edges is the Vietnam War and, you know, you're hearing all these news reports. And then, I don't want to spoil things, but eventually he almost gets caught up in it all, you know, like, but he's still oblivious to it all because he's still just so selfish. And I think it's like, in that way, it's kind of like a very kind of current film, you know, like it's about a person who can stumble through life without looking around them and like paying attention to what's happening around the world, which I think a lot of people do. You know, like we live in a world with so much that is wrong and unfair and unjust, and people are just happy to like stumble through it when they're like pretty privileged and just care about their own little adventures. So yeah, great film. It's kind of the opposite of Del Toro because like not a single scene is wasted. Like every scene tells you something about the characters. Like all those actors you mentioned who are in it, they maybe have like a couple of scenes. Like you know, Gabby Hoffman is maybe in this film for 5 minutes, but she really, I feel like I know her. You know, and like I would say that about a lot of the actors. Like they just kind of really kind of linger, and that's something that Kelly Reichardt's really good at. So yeah. So this is a knockout. Yeah,
I thought Matthew Marr, who plays the kind of like Josh O'Connor comes into contact with some mafia goons at some point, and Matthew Marr is like their driver, and he has about 4 lines, but it's such a well put together and well acted character that you know immediately who this guy is and what kind of guy he is and all that kind of stuff. Also, I would say that I just finished listening to a very, very good podcast all about America's misadventures in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, and I was worried that I was doing that. Listens to one podcast about Vietnam. I'm getting a lot of Vietnam vibes from this film, but I was surprised, Annie, actually, that the kind of Vietnam background subtext does seem to get like louder and louder as the film goes on.
Yeah, and I think that's actually the film gets better and better because of that. Like it's such a beautifully made film. First of all, it looks like so good, it sounds so good, like this kind of weird like jazzy kind of like interludes that like build this kind of really good
when those Panther or something,
yeah, it's so good.
When those skittish drums kick in, you know somebody's about to do something stupid.
You're like, oh my fucking god, everyone just like sit down. So it like looks good, it sounds good, but yeah, it's as the film goes on and this political context gets more and more explicit, that you realize that, oh, like a lot of her films, especially like First Cow, this is a film about like American capitalism, and it's a film really about individualism, right? That you have this one person that's doing this thing that, yeah, like you said, Jamie, could be a sort of Robin Hood-y, like liberating power of the people, but it's not. It's just like a completely selfish act of this one person that could have, those energies could have been redirected to actually doing something fucking useful. Like go on a fucking protest, go and like storm a bank. I don't fucking know. Like, storm the capsule. Not to... wait a second.
Careful.
But you know what I mean.
The twist that none of us saw coming.
But you could do like a direct action. You could have done something. But this is someone that is so absorbed in this idea of like narrative and their own narrative. And what does it like mean? And what does it look like to be like doing this thing and putting this thing together, to the complete myopia of everything else in their life. Like, I think it's a bit of a shame how underserved Alana Haim is in this film, but it does also reflect the character, like Josh O'Connor's character's attitude towards his family. He just does not give a shit about his wife or his 2 little boys who he just like fucks off and leaves.
Oh, there's some great bad parenting in this.
Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. So I really, really like that about it, actually, that it's so like, yeah, it actually has like a real depth to it, like you say, and it just, that feels like emergent as the film goes on and on. At first you do just think it's like this character study, and then it becomes rooted in something else.
And it also has that thing that like a good film like this has, where it's clearly being told from the perspective of its main character, but it manages to square the circle of like telling the story and broadening the story while still having to be from the perspective of an extremely one-eyed and comically useless person. Mm-hmm. So like it's all from kind of all sort of like represents his viewpoint as he's going through, but it manages to show that a lot of the things that he's doing are stupid, bad, and wrong, but also that everyone around him thinks that he's an arse and that none of this is going to work.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy greatly.
I
love to see the boys failing.
Yes. Did you also...
As long as they get plenty of FaceTime, I don't mind.
Did you also see Picture House Central, which is where all of the press screenings for LFF were, and it's like where I saw the Mastermind. They put up an Instagram post the other day that was like, someone has stolen our life-size Josh O'Connor in like a moment of like life imitating art. Can you bring him back?
Hope it was Josh O'Connor. He's just went method. He's like, no,
yeah, I'm gonna take this.
It's Alana Haim. It's like, yeah, get me down to 4 minutes of screen time, you son of a bitch. Sending the head in the post to Kelly Reichardt.
Saying that, she does have a great voice performance. There's a great kind of phone call towards the end of the film where she really, just like by saying very little, like destroys the guy. Which is
And I think that's the thing as well, like like we were saying earlier, that all these characters that are sort of peripheral to the main oaf are actually like genuinely good characters. It's this thing like when we talked about One Battle After Another, that there's a version of One Battle After Another that is made by a worse filmmaker that gets it all the ordering wrong and doesn't understand that the small characters still have to have like big personalities. And there's definitely a bad version of this film that's been made in the past where it tries to like bring too many people into it and have it be about, like, it's very clearly about Josh O'Connor's character and about his inability to pay anything off properly and his inability to like help other people and to get over himself, frankly.
Like, it barely reflects on like what went wrong about the heist, because he as a character seems like incapable of reckoning with the fact that he's done something wrong or he should have done something differently.
The very fact that he organizes this heist and then lets 2 other people do it.
Yeah.
And then when one of them pulls out at the last minute, he just gets someone else who everyone has warned him is a literal loose cannon.
Yeah.
A literal loose cannon who would have fit in well in that video game that we haven't got the name of yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no. So it's called Tank Wars.
Oh.
I'm going to show you. It was like...
great for radio.
Yeah, you're
I'll
so welcome.
describe it
You're just
when
jealous
it
that
comes on
you
screen,
can't
Jim.
see it.
I can show
yeah,
Jamie the
it was
Guillermo del
like
Toro
that.
picture again. Oh, yeah.
Did you ever play
That
this?
is-
And it was like you would shoot it and then it would go up in an arc
That
and you'd be trying
does
to...
basically look like a kind of BBC computer version of something like Worms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
See?
Oh, yeah.
Little
Well,
tanks.
There we go. Mystery solved. Much like, and it's not a spoiler to say this, much like the mystery in the Mastermind, the mystery of which gay man he was talking about, also solved. So yeah, the Mastermind is in cinemas now and it will be on Mubi later in the year, but how good is it out of 5, Ellie?
I would say 4 stars.
Nice, Jamie?
4.5.
Annie?
Say 4.
I would also say 4. I really liked it. It's very good. It's called The Mastermind and you should go and see it.
Gorgeous.
And finally, a bit of chit-chat. Stealing is cool, it says here in the notes. That is the premise of your classic heist film. Films where typically groups of folk say, okay, let's go over the plan one more time, and then they roll out a really large sheet of paper with a series of technical drawings on it, and then typically jazz plays. So in honor of the Mastermind, a good but slightly different from usual heist film, we're going to talk about some of cinema's best and our favouriteest heists. I watched Mission Impossible 2 the other day.
Oh, I tried to watch that once.
The thing about Mission Impossible 2, and it's a complete digression from the thing we're talking about, so you'll have to forgive me. Mission Impossible 1, Brian De Palma, very serious spy film, I think.
Is Mission Impossible 1 Brian De Palma?
Yeah. Mission Impossible 2 is John Woo. Doves, jumping, spinning, fire, Limp Bizkit. Let's fucking go. Anyway,
crazy.
I only mentioned that because I didn't mention it right at the start. So that's me backfilled what you've been watching bit. So yes, we're going to talk about some heists. Anna has some thoughts. Jamie, I believe, also has some thoughts. And Ellie possibly also has some thoughts about heist films. Anna, tell me about a heist film that you like and think is good.
It's good. Okay. My favorite heist film is Inception.
The heist of the mind.
The heist of the mind,
highest
exactly.
form of thievery.
Exactly. Very famously in the Inception trailer, that like line that's like, your mind is the scene of the crime. And it's like, oh my God.
Inception, also one of the best, for a very clever film, one of the funniest scenes that I've maybe ever seen, where they're explaining the plan one more time. And they are much like us in this office. There's like 6 of them sat around in the biggest warehouse you've ever seen. And I think that the board that Tom Hardy's got almost literally just says plan on it in massive capital letters.
It's a wonder they got
It's a
anything
very
done.
kind of you put the brick on the accelerator type plan. But yes, carry on.
It is, I think, such a good heist film because it has all of the different components that make a heist film really great. You have like the different cast of characters who are all like very well realized, but they're all like supporting characters. Like that kind of ensemble cast thing, which is really fun. Each of them has this very like explicit role. So you have like the architect, you have the forger, you have like all of this like mental stuff. And then you have this very convoluted plan that you're like, well, obviously that won't work. And then they have to like redo the plan as they go along. But it's obviously set in the mind. It's all about like dream hacking essentially and trying to like steal secrets from someone's brain. And so they basically try and do a heist in Cillian Murphy's brain during like a long haul flight. I think Inception is Christopher Nolan's best film. I think it's one of the best films of the 21st century. I think it's so good. I just don't think we make like really original films like that anymore. Like it's such an original idea, and it's science fiction done really, really well because it's both got that very like vague, hand wavy kind of thing where you're like, yeah, you can dream share, and then like, we develop this technology, and then you can just be in each other's dreams, and actually that's fine. That's all you need to know. And they do
the whole thing of being like, oh yeah, well how is this going to work? Because we're only going to be on the plane for the amount of time he's on the plane. No, when you go into the dream, it's longer.
Yeah.
How much? It's just longer.
It's just
when you go into another dream, that's also longer.
But then it like does, like Christopher Nolan's whole obsession across all of his work is like time, right? And so then it really like taps into that as well. But then it's also like so silly, but also so much about dreaming. I really do think about that film when they're like, you never remember the beginning of a dream. When you die in a dream, you always wait. All of the stuff that I'm like, yeah, wow, that's so true.
It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah. It do be like that. And I just think it like it's such a like creative film, and that it takes this stuff that is very like weird and ephemeral in our lives, and then like concretizes it and like builds this whole world out of it, and then populates it with this very like genre film, this genre structure, but then in the most mental ways. So like the first thing that goes wrong in this heist is a train suddenly runs through this city because it's a dream, and a train can run through anything because someone is just dreaming this, but that's them having like fucked up the plan. Like they didn't plan for this. They didn't like make sure to look if there was going to be enough security. You have dream security. I don't know. I just think it's so clever. The way that it like plays with the heist genre is really, really great. So I would say Inception, definitely. And then I also have to do a shout out to my boy, National Treasure. Because again, the platonic ideal of the heist movie. Let's go steal the Declaration of Independence.
I do think that for a heist movie to be good, it has to be quite stupid.
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
Because but like stealing, a hat, fine, good, go for it. Stealing like the most famous hat in the world. Now we're getting somewhere.
Exactly.
Stealing an entire hat shop by winching it off the ground and sticking it on the back of a flatbed truck. Now we're talking.
Exactly.
Now we're stealing hats for real. Jamie, have you got anything to add, or are we going to talk to my hat-based nonsense?
Well, I was going to give a shout out to one of my favourite films of the 70s, Charley Varrick, which is actually out in 73, so it's probably roughly the same time as the Mastermind set. And it stars the great Walter Matthau. He is a crop duster who has fallen on hard times, and as a result, he starts to rob banks. But his rule is he has to rob really kind of small, kind of chicken shit, kind of like out in the middle of nowhere banks that don't have much money, because if there's only like a couple of grand in the bank, the FBI don't get involved, and it's just like paid off by the insurance. So that's his big scheme. So he's done this for many, many years. But then he robs a bank, and it turns out there's millions there. And it's because the mafia use the bank as some sort of money laundering thing. So that sets off a kind of like really fun... Again, it's a bit like Mastermind because the heist is quite early on, and then the rest of the film is the aftermath. So like he's being chased by the mafia, who have this kind of crazy bounty hunter who's trying to kill him. The FBI is also involved. The cops are out to get them. All his partners are like double crossing him, and it's like, I think because it's Walter Matthau, he's this kind of schlubby guy who doesn't feel like a leading man. It's like, back in the 70s when like anyone could be a leading man, it's like he just looks like a normal guy. Now he'd be a character actor, he would not be allowed to be the lead, but he was back then. And there's something about, you just assume that he doesn't know what he's doing, you assume he's clueless. But what's so great about the film is that you realise actually he knows exactly what he's doing, and it's like a really satisfying narrative, and that everything that seems to be going wrong is actually going right for him. And it all kind of slots together in such a kind of beautiful way. It's directed by Don Siegel, who made like Dirty Harry and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And he's just such a good genre filmmaker. He's like so good at action. Like it's so crisp. Not a scene is wasted. It's just like a really fun 70s heist that has a kind of really inventive ending as well. Like really knocks me out. So that's probably my favourite heist movie. Although I'm going to give a shout out also to The Great Muppet Caper, which is, I think I've mentioned on here, I love the Muppet films, and this is one of my favourites. It's like, it breaks the cycle, because like in this film, they're not the Muppets, they're like, they have other jobs. And Kermit and Fozzie are twin brothers who are newspaper men who go to London because there's been a kind of robbery. And Miss Piggy plays a model who, like part of the fashion world, who's like, she gets framed by Charles Grogan, who's the real robber. It's just like ridiculous and fun, and it's nice to see them in London. They do like, this is the Muppets. It's just like it's great fun, but they're doing heists and they're solving crimes, so it's a good one.
Muppets Inception, there's an idea.
Oh my god.
Save that one up for later.
Who's going to be the non-Muppet in the Inception Muppets?
I think Leonardo DiCaprio, and then Miss Piggy could be Marion Cotillard.
Unless they keep Cillian Murphy as like the Muppets are trying to steal the dream from this man.
Tom Hardy is definitely Gonzo. In that film.
Ellie, do you have anything to add?
When I saw we were doing heists, I started looking back because I was like, this is probably like quite an old genre, right? You associate heists with like the 50s or 60s, but I realized like all of the ones that I've seen are from like the 90s at the latest. A lot of the, like you were saying, and like the platonic ideal of the heist movie weirdly is like quite a recent thing, because like Soderbergh's Ocean's films or like Tarantino and stuff like that, like these are all like super recent, and they all kind of have those hallmarks that we associate with heist movies, like that kind of interesting use of editing or the kind of like out of order storytelling of it all. So I don't know, actually. I thought this was like a much more, I guess I have a bit of a blind spot for old heist films, but like all of the ones that I've seen are quite recent. But it feels like, I don't know, maybe the 90s and the 90s are when we just perfected the ideal of the heist movie, and you have those kinds of like, I don't know, and that's when kind of things slot in better with genres, like Inception kind of being a sci-fi thing, like Guy Ritchie's films are always sort of comedies as well, and like you say, Peter, they always have to be a bit ridiculous as well. But I don't know, I suppose out of all of the ones that I've seen recently, like, the most, I guess, sort of out of left field heist film is probably a Star Wars film, like Rogue One, which is also like the best Star Wars film, and it is just a solid heist film. And it's that way, it's that unfortunate thing about Star Wars, which is that like the best parts of Star Wars are the bits that are like nothing to do with Star Wars and not like any other Star Wars film in any other way. But Rogue One is great because it has that like big cast of characters where, you know, people who even don't necessarily have a lot of screen time like really shine to the top and have their like special roles in this sort of big caper. And it's just a great setting for it. So yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe I'll have to like do a deep dive into older heist films. Like I said, like the 90s is kind of when I got back to it. I think episode before last I was talking about Heat by Michael Mann, which is a great heist film, but still kind of is ridiculous because, well, I don't know, it's just the belief that, I don't know, like when there's a heist, you know, Al Pacino can just like flood the streets of LA with a bunch of like police with assault rifles. It's like most of the time in real life, police don't do fucking anything.
Yeah.
Just look at Paris right now.
I just want to go a very special shout out to The Wrong Trousers, the best
Yes.
film about stealing diamonds.
That's
I mean,
so true.
that's how those boys did the Louvre, definitely.
Feathers McGraw's at it again.
They just had one guy who didn't know what he was really involved in. He'd been on a late night. Yes, The Wrong Trousers, in which a penguin with a gun first tries to steal the life and valor from a dog, and then tries to steal a diamond using a man. And then has a train chase through a kitchen. Like I say, they've got to be a bit silly.
Yeah.
I obviously like grew up with Wallace and Gromit from like a very young age, and I can tell you that like The Wrong Trousers in particular like terrified me for some reason. I don't know if it's just because it's got this sort of opening titles which are really like sort of like Hammer horror-y, but maybe there's like an existential thing behind, like, especially like for kids, like, oh, you'll fall asleep and your trousers will like take you on a journey and you'll get into trouble and someone else will be controlling you, which is a bit of a mind fuck. But also just like the first scene where like you hear the pneumatic sound of the steps and you just see like Gromit freaking out, like that's terrifying. The suspense in that film is wild.
And if nothing else, it does prove the thing we said earlier, which is that if you steal a diamond in your dream, you steal it in real life. There we go. That's podcasting. Right. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
We've been going for an hour, and I think it's been a very good one in this new triangular setup. Thanks, Jamie.
Just beer.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anahi.
Thank you.
This has been the Cineskinny. If you've enjoyed it, please tell people. They'll also like it.
Yeah.
And if you're coming past our office, wave if you see us recording. I've not told them where it is, though, so that'll be just setting people off on a wild goose chase. I will tell you it's somewhere in Edinburgh. I'm not going to give you any more information than that. Cool. So we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. This has been the Cineskinny. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.